All right, everyone. This is Ground Zero Florida. I am your host, David Washington, your favorite political innovator right here in Florida. And yes, we are your political innovators of J in Washington LLC. And I got to tip my hat to David Hogg, okay? The young man from Florida, there you go, who will threatened, let's call it what it is, who has threatened to challenge um, those Democrats who are to be primaried, who have elections in Congress in 2026. He has threatened to run younger, more progressive candidates against more older, maybe moderate Democrats seeking reelection. David Hogg has about $20 million of Leaders We Deserve, his political action committee, $20 million he will use to primary these older Congress people and replace them with younger candidates, progressive candidates. And there are certain older Congress people that he will not target, like Nancy Pelosi. He believes that Nancy's doing what she needs to do. She's a fighter. With David Hogg, I get it. I understand the frustration with the Democratic Party for a presidential campaign that spent well over $1.5 billion on a losing effort, a Democratic Party that really has no leadership. No, they don't have leadership. They don't have a consistent message that resonates with Americans of all stripes. And they seem to be without any guidance, anything that, and pardon me for the pauses, they just don't seem to resonate with Americans, whether it's their little TikTok dances or their selfies looking like they're going to do something, or, flying down to Salvador thinking that they're going to bring back Abrego Garcia. What was that all about? Or their little protests or their tours around America. It's a week after Easter. Donald Trump is still the president. Republicans are still in control of government, and the Democrats have not offered anything that resembles any type of policy or message that doesn't say Trump, bad man, Trump, bad man, dictator, bad man, authoritarian, whatever. We're kind of done with that. And David Hogg is like, you know, I'm actually going to do something. I'm put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to put my PAC's money where my mouth is, and I'm going to challenge Democrats to do better. I get that. And I like the fact that he is willing to walk the walk instead of just talk the talk. Oh, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. Everyone's going to fight. What are you fighting up against? The protest, the 50-51, nothing came of it. And I can talk about these things because, one, in my day, when I was much younger, yes, much younger, I protested with ACT UP, with Move On, independently of organizations. I told a story about demonstrating outside of the then James Thompson Center in downtown Chicago, the State Building, when it looked really ugly, but it was a accurate architectural masterpiece in my opinion. I was with a small group of individuals who protested the waste management incinerator that was adjacent to the community that my mom grew up in and I grew up in. And there was a high incident of asthma and other respiratory illness and disease occurrences in the community around the incinerator. at the landfill there. If you drive down the Dan Ryan and you take the Calumet Expressway, I think they changed the name because that's what they called it back in my time, the Calumet Expressway, and you're going south to the south suburbs or Indiana, you'll see the big landfills. They're probably mountains now. I mean, mountains now. But I remember when they were much smaller and had the incinerator burning constantly. You could smell the methane. And me and a group of other people, we had this makeshift bed, big bed that we plopped right there in the plaza in front of the entrance of the State of Illinois building. And I portrayed Roland Brewers in bed with polluters. Three black lawyers, black men, older, probably in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, came out and chastised me. How could you do this to another black man and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know something? How could the Attorney General at that time, Roland Burris, do this to our community and not investigate waste management for the incinerator? It was a tense moment. I was very young at that time. Was I scared? I was scared because this is the Attorney General at the time of the state of Illinois. So I understand this whole protest thing. Yeah, I think the incinerator's gone now. And, I went on to go into the Peace Corps. However, David Hogg is saying, you know something? We're frustrated. I'm in a position where I can do something to change the tide, to show that we're more, as Democrats, they're more than just a lot of talk about fighting. They're that the Democrats, through David Hogg and leaders we deserve, are going to put the resources behind electing people who will move forward with a progressive agenda. Bravo. Now, there's a flip side to that. Of course, Ken Martin, the chairman, newly elected chairman of the DNC, have said, yo, we're already in shit. The Democrats are already in shit, whether it's nationally or locally here in the state of Florida, with the recent resignation of State Senator Jason Pizzo and his statement saying that the Florida Democratic Party is dead. Wait until 2030, 2032 for that. Just a little secret sauce there. However, with Kim Martin stating that, David, you're not making the situation better. You're going after our very own. We should be supporting our Democrats. And yes, those Democrats who are being targeted, they have, institutional knowledge, they have connections, which will help, does help. Trust me, it does help. Having that kind of institutional knowledge does help. However, I understand Ken Martin saying of all times, his Democrats, the opposition, needs to show a united front because they're struggling, they're hurting, the Democrats are. And there's more than just, folks like Ken Martin saying things, the other Democrats are saying the same thing, it's like, hey, it's a circular firing squad already. Why add to it? Let's work together, not against each other. Let's build each other up. And I believe instead of using that $20 million to go against your own, if I was in David Hogg's position, I will build a Wellstone or J.N. Washington type of leadership academy and start developing the new innovations, new technologies, the new candidates for a new era, vet them, mentor them, prepare them. They could be elected officials at the very local level. However, you can plan out in 2028, 2030, 2032, and so forth and so on. Your next level of confident, well-funded, energized leadership. Build a bench with that 20 million. Build a bench. Take that 20 million, target specific areas across the country, or just one area of the country, or just one state, or or even more, even more revolutionary. Go into areas like Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, where there's Democrats that need to be empowered. They're like-minded Republicans and independents who would understand and follow the message of the opposition. Broaden the Democratic appeal. But first, you have to have policy that counter what the leadership of this country has already laid out. And right now, with each passing day, with each passing day, MAGA is rolling on the opposition, period. The opposition has lost the narrative on immigration, on the economy. Okay? And maybe the opposition is waiting for the midterms. That's a horrible strategy. If things were so bad, again, whether you saw me on our socials, on our YouTube channels, our newsletter, or on Live Now with Fox, I was saying the opposition needs to be ahead of Trump. Campaigning the way things used to be, that's over. You got to start thinking differently. And we saw that in the special elections here in Florida and Congressional District 1 and Congressional District 6. The same game plan. It did not work. And please, special elections are an entity all to themselves. There's really nothing you can draw from special elections except for the win, of course, or the loss, and also how effective your GOT, get out the vote, strategy and messaging was. Otherwise, oh, such and such, won this county, and oh, they cut the Trump, margin by half, and instead of plus 5 billion, it was plus 2.5 billion for Trump. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, people. I know you all need some moral victories, but enough of the participation awards. A win is a win is a win, period. So I understand Ken Martin stating, we're the Democrats need to show solidarity and support one another. And David Hogg has decided to give $100,000 to the DCCC, the Democratic Congressional Committee or whatever. Okay, that's nice. However, in August, when the Democrats meet for their usual meetings, enough of the meetings. I'm so tired of meetings. We'll see when the rubber hits the road whether David Hogg will continue on this path to disrupt. I like it. Or if the opposition will come together and find some negotiated agreement. However, whether it's MAGA, whether it's the opposition, the game has changed. Campaigning has changed. The voters have changed. The kitchen table issues remain the same. People want a good life for themselves, their children, their families, and their communities. And at this point, the Democrats offer nothing. However, David Hogg, he's decided to do something about it. So, on that note, this is Ground Zero Florida. I'm watching this whole situation play out between Ken Martin, David Hogg, the rest of the opposition, see what happens. Again, if Trump continues to have several small victories, whether it's in policy or in the courts, or one big victory in regarding the economy, The midterms are over. Republicans will stay in office, and maybe even more so. However, what the Democrats need to do, just some long-term thinking here. Y'all need to be prepared for the changes that are coming in the 2030 census. That's what you all should be worried about, because as more blue states are losing residents to red states, the electoral math is changing. The electoral map has already begun to change. So we'll see. Florida with four more electoral votes? Oh my God. We'll see about that. This is Ground Zero Florida. I'm David Washington, your favorite political innovator. Remember, T8020community.com, T8020community.com. Check it out. It is our latest endeavor. We plan to change and dominate the political space here in Florida. Like, share, hit the notification button, and again, comment. Love to hear what you have to say. There are some comments that go without reply. They just do. Don't know what to say. It is what it is, right? But I love to hear what you have to say so that I can comment back to you. And please check out Countertop Politics from the margins with Jimmy up on the David Washington, the David Washington Show, battlefield correspondent. Did I get all of them? I can't remember. There are so many damn shows. But again, check out Ground Zero Florida. And thank you. Thank you. Appreciate everything that you do.